Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week marked the beginning of WoW's 19th anniversary. It is live in the game now and will be available until December the 7th. You can pick up your in-game mail to get your rep and experience buff for 19%, as well as your new little Frostwing pet looks like this. And if you kill Doomwalker, the world boss outside of the Caverns of Time entrance here, at least once, you will guaranteed get the Azure World Chiller Deathwing lookalike mount. There's also veteran track gear available that drops from that boss as well as from the originals bosses out in the world. Details about that are in the Wowhead Anniversary Guide. It's a pretty straightforward one this year. They didn't do any crazy big new thing. There's no like LFR. I'm expecting next year, as the 20th anniversary, to be fancy. But this year is mostly just kind of kill your boss, open your mail, bada bing. Other news this week, patch 10.2.5 was revealed and should hit the PTR very soon at this point. There were a couple of things that we expected from the 10.2.5 announcement, as well as a few surprises. So one of the expected things is that dragon riding is being expanded to all of the old zones where you can fly in 10.2.5. They're also adding an Outland Cup, so if you've been enjoying those new old world dragon riding races, there are more on the way with new cosmetics to earn from doing them. One note here that they did mention in the patch notes is that in these old zones, they are capping the maximum flight speed of dragon riding to 80% of what it is in the Dragon Isles, mentioning that these older zones were not kind of designed with warp speed in mind. They're often much smaller, and they do not want to trivialize the travel time in them. So you won't be going quite as fast, but you will still be able to go a great deal faster than was available to you before. Also on the topic of Soar, Drakthir Soar is going to gain all of your dragon riding abilities in 10.2.5. Other things they announced, there's going to be a new public event called the Azerothian Archives with kind of like a Dragon Isles history theme and some new collectibles to get. We are also reclaiming Gilneas. There will be some new storylines that have us going back to Gilneas with King Greymane to get that back. And more customizations, including new hair colors for trolls, among other things. The big one that really surprised me that I did not see coming is they're adding a thing in 10.2.5 that will let you run a dungeon with AI NPCs, up to 4 of them. So if you want, you could go into this dungeon alone and have 4 AI NPCs with you to allow you to see the dungeon without maybe the pressure of pugging, especially if you're newer. This will be available for normal difficulty dungeons only, but could be a great way for people to kind of dip their toes into dungeons if they're interested to see what it's all about, but are maybe concerned about being new in an environment where that is not always something that is treated with patience and respect. I'm really curious to see how good these AI NPCs actually are. Like, how smart are they? Are they good enough that, you know, your friends are like, hey, can I come to that dungeon? And you're like, listen, Jimmy the robot is pulling this much DPS, so if you can't do as much as that, you know, call me later. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but there's all kinds of fun implications that you can think out if they did decide to expand this beyond this initial application. My imagination immediately got away from me, and I was sitting there imagining a world where the entire Mythic Plus queue, and mind you, this is not real, but like the entire Mythic Plus queue is all AI, and they've gotten so smart that none of them will invite any of us meatbags because we're just not that good. Anyways, no more candy after bedtime for me. Data mining has also begun for 10.2.5 with some incredible new mount models being data mined, as well as some potential trading post rewards for down the road. Love is in the Air is getting an update, so some of these things are Love is in the Air themed. We have a beautiful friendship fox. There are these peacock mount models here, and then this magical girl looking transmog set, which was getting a lot of love. Might turn out to be the Fill-the-Bar reward for February. We don't know that for sure yet. Also, there are butterfly wing mogs. They look incredible. I really hope at least a few of these things are not just from the trading post, but I'm expecting a chunk of them at least to be from the trading post. Other things this week, the season begun and Amirdrassil opened, and I was quite happy actually to have the first wing of LFR open along with everything else. It's a nice way to kind of dip in and see a few bosses before your raid net gets online. The Catalyst is also open with 1 charge, so reminder that you can turn a piece of Season 3 gear into a piece of tier at the Catalyst if you like. Especially nice if you happen to get a piece of tier from that running that LFR wing or from your normal clear or whatever. You'll be able to get 2 piece right away. Those charges are going to accumulate every other week. So account for that if you're doing your tier set gaining math. You should be able to get a new Catalyst charge every other week, but it is open now. And then in my life this week, I've had a very raid-themed week. We got 8 of the 9 raid guides up. The Farak guide is on the way at some point when it's finished. I won't make promises I can't keep. I'm terrible at this kind of thing. But I've been having a lot of fun. I did my first raid week with my guild. We full cleared normal on the first night, which was awesome. And then on the second night, we killed a couple of heroic bosses. We did Gnarlroot, Agira, and then Volcaros on heroic, which were extremely spicy. Definitely a crash course in trying to remember how to heal a holy priest. It's a cool raid. I like this theme of them making the fights more visually intuitive. One thing that I would put on my wish list for them to do a little differently in the future is, while I love having these mechanics where your healing adds in the fight to do a thing, I think that's really cool. I would love to have some better visibility options for those frames within the default UI. Because holy smokes, some of them are hard to target. I ended up making just a /target macro for Lairdar to /tar the charred brambles because there was no other way I was getting a quick target on that, especially if it died like on top of the seed. But aside from that, I've been having just a blast. And questions from this week. Zachary wants to know, what class and spec are you maining for this next tier and why? I am a Holy Priest again, and it is nothing against Preservation Evoker, which I was playing before. It's not them, it's me. So I've had a few people asking me what's wrong with Pre-Evoker, and the answer is nothing. I got salty that I didn't get my Legendary. I didn't want to keep farming Sarkareth anymore, and I just kind of missed being a gnome, so I wanted to go back to a main that I felt really comfortable and familiar with. So I'm a Holy Priest again, and they changed it since the last time that I played it. How dare they? Moving things around since Shadowlands. I've picked Holy over Discipline right now because it is comfy, familiar territory, because I like the aesthetics of it, and because I don't fully understand how Disc works, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. I hear that there was a rework and that people like it, and that's great, but I've always kind of been a Holy Priest diehard. And then OKJ asks, are you excited for the Earthen? It seems most people feel they're just reskins, which I do agree with, but I'm still super excited for them. I think that's great. I'm also really excited to get into like the customization of the Earthen because it looks like they have a ton of options, and I think it'd be really cool to kind of play with them and poke around and make one that feels really unique to me. I think they look great. I wonder if maybe some of that disappointment, and there's no way to know this for sure, but I wonder if some people weren't kind of getting their hopes up for a new race that was more different from the ones that we already have, something like Naga or Ogres or Sethrak or Ethereals or something else that's just not a third version of a thing that we already have. I think Earthen fit the theme, and I do think they look very distinct from Dwarves and Dark Iron Dwarves, especially with the size difference and the fact that they can be Horde. I just think that it was missing from a lot of people's like expansion wishlist cheats. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions for our news video, please pop them in the comments and include the word question to help me find them. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support on the new set of raid guides, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.